And let me perhaps introduce Professor Moiz Bakhiet. He's also with the Gulf University in Bahrain. But I think for Professor Moiz, worldwide, he's one of those scientists, whether you call him Arabic or Swedish or Sudanese, whatever it is, he's one of the worldwide scientists been highlighted in worldwide in his scientific contribution in this area. And I think in all Arab channels, I have seen him. I don't think I have seen any other scientist worldwide from the Arab countries is being featured on the news all the time, like almost on a daily basis. You will see him commenting on everything. He is a scientist. He's the head of molecular medicine at the Gulf University. He has published a lot on also, I think he had made scientific contribution to understanding this virus. I think all of our speakers today, you will find their CV, but for Professor Moiz, I think you can look as tremendous or a large number of publications in cell biology, molecular medicine, in lots of areas, not just on the COVID, but in the COVID, his remarks scientifically are there. So if I can maybe introduce you, Professor Moiz, to maybe continue on what Dr. Farzana has said, but also you have contributed worldwide. Do you see others? I'm not want to put you on the spotlight by saying, are there any others? You can not name them, but are you happy with the contribution Arab scientists, not yourself in particular, have contributed to the massive or global collaboration to find a solution, not necessarily the vaccine? I know in the UK, we have lots of people, Sudanese doctors and others, doing lots of work on public health and so on. So Professor Moiz, maybe you can highlight and tell us what contribution do you think the Arab scientists like yourself on the ground have made to the global fight against this virus?
Thank you, Professor Alam, and thank you, Dr. Farzana. You said almost everything I wanted to say. Yes, there are a lot of Arabs who are still contributing to the COVID and to the other research, but outside the Arab world. They are in the Western countries, in the United States, in Europe, in the United Kingdom, and they have been participating even in these vaccines, like some Sudanese doctors on the Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine. But I want to go to the root of the problem, why they are there contributing and not in their home countries. And I can just in a few minutes tell you my experience. When I went from Sudan to Sweden more than 32, 33 years ago, I went as a doctor to be specialized as a clinical neurologist. I have no idea what is science, what is research. I never hold a pipette in my life. And then when I went there, I was doing my residency in clinical neurology. By accident, my professor discovered that I'm a poet. I'm writing poem, and that was my main thing in life, poem. And then he came to me, he said, "Oh, you are a poet." And then he was about to talk about patience, something, and then he turns the conversation about imagination and those who are talented in writing or in poem or in drawing. And he said, we need such people in research. We want you to contribute to research. I said, I don't know what is even the word research mean. He said, no, we will teach you. We want to use your imagination in research. So they started to teach me how to hold a pipette, I swear. They started to teach me how to work with a cell, and then I became excited, interested. They put me with a technician. And just to cut it short, as a result of this, I published my first paper in Cell. Can you believe? The highest paper. And then he told me, I told you, you are a poet, you have imagination. And then I made a big discovery by accident. توفيق من الله. Anyhow, then I became much interested in research, learning, publishing, excited. I had patents, and then things became more into innovations. And I was not that time thinking about promotion, but we were publishing, and then I could manage to get my residency and PhD, and to get a lot of funds to support groups. And that was the Karolinska Institute, the house or the home of Nobel Prize in medicine. So from someone who is really naive, they picked him up and they made him a scientist. And then I won the award of the strategic researcher of Sweden. And then I got the Swedish nationality as just as an honor. Okay. And then I got a lot of funds, millions, and established my lab, my students, etc., etc. And I went both into clinic and into research. I tell you, I moved to Bahrain for some reason, first as a sabbatical, but when I came, I wanted to practice also as a clinician and to establish the research in the Arabian Gulf University and the graduate programs, the PhD, which I did. But I remember when I went to the hospital the first time, when they took my CV, my colleagues, the senior doctors, the consultants, we were talking in the coffee room, and then they said, "Oh, you are a researcher, you are a scientist, you are not a clinician." I said, "No, I'm a clinician, I have the board, but you are a scientist." As if I am something very bad. I was so shocked because the lack of culture of science in the Arab world is a problem. Then I remembered in Sweden what happened to me, and then my kids, when they went to nursery and school, the first thing they got in grade 1 was science projects. They learned research methodology. They were knowing science better than me when I was starting in grade 1 when they were 6 and 5 years old. So they started by projects. They were teaching them science by projects, not in class. And they go to Cosmonova and see the world and the stars, and they go to the forest and study plants and things and make projects while when they were 6 years old. Okay, things which I came when I was adult, I didn't know even what is research. So the lack of culture, the lack of educating and supporting and funds, and the councils, the research councils to take all these and look at them up. Okay, then one step went that they wanted for promotion to have publications. So my colleagues started to come to me, can you help us with some, or put our names in some papers, so we want to get promotion. Okay, but in Sweden, the idea was not just promotion, because we were interested in innovation. And then the university started to have biomedical research institutes for incubation, companies, startup companies, help you with patents, registering. And then people were thinking about for research, looking into innovation and patience, that research will pay back one day. We lack this patience. We want just to consume and get back results. So there is no budget put for research, because what will come out of research after 10 years, 30 years, one innovation. For example, when I was in Sweden, the Astra company discovered the Lusec for the treatment of the gastric ulcer. And that discovery, Sweden had a little economical crisis. That discovery changed whole Sweden, the whole budget, one discovery of one drug, one innovation by just a single scientist. And then other companies, of course, did Scania, Volvo, IKEA, all were innovations. All were small innovations, startup companies, incubators, helping people, and then publications will come. And that is what Dr. Farzana showed, that companies are publishing. And they are publishing because of these innovations. We lack all this. We lack the culture. We lack the basis for research to teach our kids. And when I started the PhD program and the master programs, the students who come to us from, the Arabian Gulf universities, the GCC universities, so they come from Kuwait, from Oman, from Qatar, from Saudi Arabia, from UAE, all of them, no exception. They don't know the research methodology and the basis of research. While kids in Sweden, when they are 6 years, they know research methodology because the lack of the proper strategy to grow with research since people are kids, because this is the real future and income and the budget and the economy based on these innovations and discoveries. And these discoveries will not come by promotion, will come by having startup companies, incubators, and innovations, and having research councils, and not just having prize to motivate. No, it must be a culture from the startup. So this is the experience why those I mentioned in the beginning, they are very successful in the West, because when they see that they are capable, they incubate them and they take them up and they help them to grow, as happened to me with professors. I don't know, just he discovered a poet and he thinks that is a good basis to be a good scientist. And when I came here, I'm fighting, but we are making collaborations. I established the Center for Molecular Medicine and Genetics, regenerative medicine programs, a personalized medicine program, the PhD in molecular medicines, cytogenetics, biochemical genetics, molecular genetics, etc., etc. And now we have infrastructure to be shoulder by shoulder with the advanced world. But we need money, we need funds, we need research councils, we need infrastructures, so that if I will be successful in the West, I can be very successful here, and to make research culture. I think that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you very much, Professor Moiz, and you are an excellent example of
So please remember, if we all help and do a little bit, it will make a big difference.